Hello and welcome back to the game room. You know what I love? Video games. You know what I love? Talking about games. And it seems like a lot of people these days who cover games seem to hate them. Or at least the people who play them. Well, that's not me, and that's not the 3,953 of you beautiful people checking out this video here today. We are on the last 47 subs until 4,000. Thank you guys so much. Today's video was actually suggested by you guys. I had someone mention, when are you ever going to talk about some kid-friendly Xbox 360 games? Which, if you know the Xbox 360, and really this generation in general outside of the Wii, there's not that many of them. So I thought, what a great idea. So no clickbait in this title. We are talking about 10 or more family-friendly games. And so if that sounds interesting to you, let's check it out.
There's a lot of games out there, some of which you've never even heard of. That's where I come in. My name's Luke. I've been playing games since the age of 2, and I have no life.
This is my game room.
Alright, well the first game that I wanted to talk about this week that more or less made the concept desirable. There were a lot of videos back in March talking about games on the 360 to pick up. One of which was this game that I had avoided getting just because I've played the first game in the series and I like it enough, but I wasn't willing to overpay on it like so many of the other games I was willing to overpay on. But now the prices have kind of crashed, which is even, I'm seeing some of the high ticket items. Like I was going to even think of doing a games I missed the boat on video this week. I might do it next week. But some games that were like $200, I'm seeing able to be got for $90. So like I say, this is the time to buy this stuff. I don't think it's going to cradle like this forever. But anyways, the game that I did pick up finally is beautiful Katamari, or Katamari, if you want to over-enunciate it. I played the one on the Switch. I have the one on the PS2. But this is one of those games where it is Japanese AF. Like, it is kooky, off the wall, makes no sense. And I really appreciate it for what it is. The only thing I don't like about it is I find the controls in these games to just be off. You control with the left and the right stick, but it doesn't move in a way you suspect it should. So if you want to move your character around the ball, they don't. If you want to move forward and backwards, it always seems like a task. And yeah, they have these tutorial levels, but I don't know. I love the music in these games. The vibe is off the chart. It is so ridiculous. And it's just fun going through and building up a snowball's worth of stuff until it gets so big that you start busting through walls or you start busting out of grocery stores. And then ideally the things get so big they can start rolling up houses and things like that. But every time I play these, because I only get through the first few stages, I only get to the part where the ball is maybe the size of, of a forklift. Something like that. And then these timers always make me feel like I'm bad at the game. But this is the Katamari, I think it's the fourth one. I believe there was Katamari Damacy, the second one on the PS2. There's this one, and then there's also Katamari Forever. I think Forever was the third game before. Either way, this one is exclusive to the 360. It got up around $20 to $30 complete. Now it's back around $15 to $20. Right in that sweet spot if you're interested in it to pick it up, in my opinion. I always feel like the guy looks just like Tingle from Zelda, but it's not. And it's a very, very zany game. If you like things like No One Can Escape Mr. Domino, that kind of vibe, check it out. It is not for everybody by a long shot. It's a cool concept that just, I don't feel like they executed well enough, but still fun to have it. I'm glad I finally picked it up. Like I said, this theme of family-friendly games, that was one that's definitely in the family-friendly camp, so I picked it up. All right, another one that I got on launch. So this was a game that really came out at the right time. The Amiibos had just come out, and these Toys to Life games like Skylanders and things like that were huge back in the mid-2010s. And this one seemed poised to conquer the world, and that was Disney Infinity. So I bought this for Jen. I want to say this was a gift I got her for either Christmas or, one of those classic gifts where you buy a gift for somebody that's really for you. But she did enjoy it. She did like it. And the gimmick of this is that there was this pad that it came with where you would put these little crystal things that would unlock stages, and then you have these little characters that would unlock characters that you could play as in the game. But other than that, there wasn't really much to the game. And that's kind of the problem with these. I feel like Lego Dimensions had the same sort of problem. The Amiibos had that same sort of problem where you're buying a toy, but the toy translating in the video game never went off all that well, at least in my opinion. And then you're having to constantly buy more. So I got the starter pack that came with, I think, the Monsters, Inc. people, the Pirates of the Caribbean, and then I can't remember what the third one was. It was some Marvel property, I believe. But it's just, you get stuck in these biomes, and they introduced a Star Wars land, they introduced this and that. But it was so much substance, but, an inch deep. Like, there was nothing to do in these games. And they clearly were meant to just be, toys cash grabs. But the amount of stuff, like with the Amiibos, you could at least do fun things with them or unlock bonuses. With this, it quickly became something where it's like, okay, I'm gonna get almost no use out of this game. And still, another one that, hey, you can still play these. It's fun to collect now that there isn't so much more coming out of it. I believe you still can play it. But yeah, just something that it's more of a holdover of its time. But yeah, it's family friendly, even though it says 10 plus. All right, another one. This was a game that I was super excited to get. I believe I got it on the Wii, or I bought it when it came out. One of the few Wii games I bought, even though I didn't have a Wii. And then when the sequel was announced, I knew nothing about it. I literally did not know about it. It came out and went, never heard about it. The big gimmick of this game was that it was going to introduce co-op with it. And that game was Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two. Yes, The Power of Two. This came out to no fanfare, I feel like. I don't know. I mean, the first game was a very unique concept. It was really one of the first times that a Mickey Mouse game had come out and been pretty successful since probably Castle of Illusion on the Genesis. And it really was a beautifully designed game, really cool concept, having the ability to use your paintbrush or the paint thinner to either get through levels or, uncover secrets. And I enjoyed the first one immensely. So jumping into the second one, I was really intrigued to see how it would go. And it really just felt like more of the same. Now, I know there is a co-op aspect to it. I did not play with the co-op aspect, but you go back into the Wasteland. It's sort of this bizarro Disneyland creation, but also having a young daughter who's obsessed with Disneyland, as is my wife, I was much more interested in checking this game out. And definitely one that I think this will be something to check out in a few years, either with my daughter or my wife, because I think that could be a fun time for the both of us, or the three of us. And, if they're remastering the first one, you gotta think this one's coming shortly behind it. There's some rabbit character that kind of looks like a mix of a rabbit and Mickey, and then that rabbit character has its own version of Minnie Mouse, which is a cat. But story-wise, it kind of sums up the first game, and then I think the villain of the first game is on your side. I'm sure he's going to betray you later. But it's a fun concept, and it's simple, and it's a nice use of Mickey, and something that would be worth checking out. Because I don't know if you guys knew that the sequel came out to Epic Mickey. I remember hearing about it, but I don't remember it coming out. Now, here's a game that I got in one of those lots, either the Import Tuner lot, the Cult of Saga lot, and it is... I know there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that's good on the 360. This one is not it. And that is Nickelodeon's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So this is based off of the television show, which there's been so many Turtles TV shows post the good one, in my opinion, that came out in the late 80s, early 90s. And so this one uses the art style of that game. And it starts off, it seems interesting enough. You got all the different turtles in there. It appears to be a beat 'em up. It's 4-player, I believe, simultaneous co-op even. But all 4 characters are on the screen, no matter how many characters you're playing with. And it just does not feel good. It does not feel good. You feel sluggish as hell. Even Donatello, my favorite to play as in all the other games, could not stand playing as him. Raphael just could not stand playing as him. Michelangelo either. I only could play as Leo, really. But the other 3 turtles are just on the screen, taking up real estate, doing absolutely nothing. It does not seem like you can defeat the foot soldiers without using the throw them at the screen move, which is fun to throw them at the screen, but then they hit the screen and then have a slow slide down. So it became a test of patience. When you hit enemies, there's no real feedback with it. It doesn't have any impact behind it, which for a game that maybe, let's say, came out in 2005, 2006, I could be a little lenient on, but I want to say this one is 2013. I mean, it was when they stopped doing manuals, because this is another one where the manual is the cover. So just really disappointed with how this one went. The art style is not my favorite, but if the combat was anywhere decent, I could at least say that was worth it. But yes, stay far, far away from this one. The TMNT, I think it's the Good Turtles game. That's the one that came out, I want to say, right at the beginning of the 360, because I think it's also on GameCube, PS2. I've heard that one's good. I haven't run across it yet, but that is one that's still on my radar. All right. Now, I don't have a Kinect, but I have played the Kinect back in the day. And another game that came in that lot of the Cold Sip Saga games were some sealed games, one of which was a sealed copy of Kinect Adventures. I will dive into the Kinect games eventually, but this is definitely one that it was just not as pivotal as Wii Sports, but just something fun to experience. So my next door neighbor had a Kinect, and I would go over to his house and I would check this out back in, say, 2013, 2014. And the ability to actually feel like the camera was tracking your movements. When you jumped, your characters would jump, and then it would have this fun thing where it would take pictures of you in real time so that you could see yourself in the game looking like an absolute fool, or at least see a screenshot of you looking like an absolute fool as you were playing the game. Was fun and all. I mean, it's co-op, it's 2-player, but yeah, this, like I said, this is family-friendly games. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel here, but another one, if you're interested in, these things are worth like $1. This is a sealed copy. It's probably worth $2. And you do need the Kinect for these, so if you want to play that one, you need the Kinect. But it is a novelty big time. Definitely not something I would play all the time, but really one of those things that's fun to experience. All right, now I've talked about this one before. There are 2 arcade volumes on the Xbox 360 called the PopCap Arcade Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 2, this one has Peggle, Feeding Frenzy 2, and Heavy Weapon. I want to say Volume 1 has Feeding Frenzy 1, and then the other 2 games are escaping me right now. But all of these are just solid, fun, family-friendly games. Now, what's interesting about this, if you put the disc in, it downloads the games in its digital format, and then you have to go and launch them from your arcade instead of off the disc. Unlike some of the other Xbox arcade games that have games on the disc where it actually has a launcher menu, this one just installs the games, and they are installed, or it just allows you to play the games, and it's not DLC on disc or anything like that. It's an interesting way of launching the game. Apparently, this is one of the rarest games on the Xbox 360. So I know I've talked about it before, and I'm mentioning it along with Arcade Volume 1. But yes, if you ever see Arcade Volume 2, I want to say I got this for around $30, $40 when it came out, or when I picked it up. And it's going for much more than that, or if it isn't, it will be, because these are stupid hard to find. I could not find more than 1 copy anywhere when I was looking for it, and I just got lucky that it was complete. Now, a game that's actually on another digital collection that I'm going to mention here, just because of the sheer ridiculousness of it. So it's a game called Flock, and it's on the Capcom Digital Collection. So Flock, you are in a little spaceship, and it's you going and herding sheep into various different areas. You can abduct this and that, but yeah, you're an alien dude having to herd sheep so that you can abduct them for your alien duties. And it's a simple concept. It goes on and on from there. Like I said, it's on the digital collection with all these other games. Before, you used to be able to just download it. You might still be able to download it on the Xbox One or the Xbox Series X. But if not, you can still get it digitally on the Capcom Digital Collection, and this is a solid collection. There's 9 other games, I want to say, because one of the games is a twofer. So the Final Fight is actually Final Fight and Magic Sword, which not everyone is aware of, which was the reason why I even picked up the damn thing, to have a physical version of Magic Sword, the arcade, and not just the one that's on the Super Nintendo. Now, I've mentioned this before, there are 2 different versions on the Xbox 360 for this as well, and that is Angry Birds and Angry Birds Star Wars. I am a much bigger fan of Angry Birds. I'm so over Star Wars at this point that I can't really even appreciate it with, just having the skins on it. And it's just not as fun. I enjoy going after the piggies with the regular birds. The Star Wars birds start getting all these different lightsaber blasters, all these different abilities that kind of add too much nuance to the game, in my opinion. Still, both of them are fun and very, very cheap. I want to say you can probably still find them $5, $10 each. Don't come with manuals and other ones, because these were phone games. And a lot of people, I can see a lot of nostalgia in probably another 10, 15 years for the Angry Birds, for the originals. And it's just nice having a way of doing it without having to bust out your old iPhone 4. All right, last couple here. So one that I want to bring up. So I got a bunch of games from my buddy Archer that I bought off of him. And then I think he just gave me the rest of them at some point, or I can't remember how I got this. But some of the games were not great, and so I actually left them in a separate box that ended up in my garage for the last 5 years. So the other day I was looking through that to see if there's anything that maybe I should pull out now that I've been looking more at the 360. And this is one of them, and that is Indiana Jones Greatest Adventures, the Lego Edition. So I didn't even know there was a Lego Indiana Jones. It must have sold well because there's a Platinum Hits Edition. So I went to go put it into my Xbox 360, and I don't know if this will show up on the camera, but yeah, part of the reason why I never ended up doing much with these is that a lot of these games were in piss poor condition, and the disc would not read. Now, I have yet to try and get the game resurfaced, but honestly, I'm not all that concerned. It was more just hey, that's a family-friendly game, right? I already know how it plays. It's a Lego game. It loosely follows the story of the movies. There's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek humor here and there. There's secrets that are built and broken down with the different Legos. You can play as all the different characters, go through the different movies, and there you go. Like, the Lego games have a tried and true formula. They got me to bite on the first one, like the early on ones that were the, I think, episode 1, 2, or 3 of Star Wars. But then after that, I pieced out, and I have never looked back. Never looked back. But hey, if you like those games, there you go. That's another one in the long list of Lego games, and it's family friendly. All right. I'm just bringing this game up again because it is family friendly, and it is a definitive Mario Kart competitor that unfortunately no one has ever played and most people haven't heard of, and that is El Chavo Kart. This is a game that was only released, I want to say, in South America, and it is region free. So if you see one of these, pick it up, get it, because you can play it anywhere. It's one of the more expensive games on the Xbox 360. I think it's around $100 now. It got up around $400 at some point. I mean, that price tag on it, I didn't pay that, but that was $400 at some point. And it's a really, really fun game. As someone who is not the hugest fan of Mario Kart 8, it was nice to play something that was still contemporary to, contemporary enough, even though, Mario Kart 8 came out, 2012, 2013? So yeah, a contemporary that played very well, but with different mechanics, and something that I very much enjoyed, and just another one I want to bring more attention to because it is really a solid, solid game. And then the last game we're going to talk about is still a franchise that's running to this day, I believe. There was a time where I would always buy an iteration of a sports game on the console when I got it. So, for instance, when I got a GameCube, I would get Madden 02 versus I had NFL Quarterback Club 97 on the N64 versus on the Super Nintendo I had, so on and so forth. I always stayed away from soccer games, but it was hard to escape it, especially because my buddies, they really got heavy into FIFA, and as much as I didn't want to play it and I didn't want to be a part of it, at a certain point, it was like, all right, you got to join the club just so you can play what the hell everyone else is. So the last game I'm throwing on here is FIFA 2012. You can really say a lot of these are family friendly, just not the ones that start adding gambling. So that's one of the reasons why I'm talking about 2012, is I don't think they had all the cards you could get or all the really ridiculous things that allow people to prey on young kids trying to do gambling in video games. But yeah, FIFA 12 was a solid entry. Every one of these games, I suck at soccer, so I always felt like I was up a creek. I would like to go back to the NES days and just play NES soccer, because that made me feel better about myself. But you can use the right stick for your fancy juke moves, or you can have the, every time I played this, regardless, whenever I would play either the computer or my friends, it always seemed like whenever I had the ball, they were on me like, like flies on rice. And then whenever they had the ball, I could not for the life of me catch up. That's why I stuck to things like NBA Jam and Blitz. But hey, just wanted to throw it out there because, like I said, we are scraping the bottom of the barrel, and that is the last family-friendly game. So as you can see, there's not many family-friendly games you can talk about on the 360, but we got some here. Alright, well that's what you get for this week, guys. As always, I release a new video every Tuesday. We are on that short countdown to 4,000. I just can't thank you all enough. Thank you again for the engagement. I see them just saying, commenting for the algorithm. I appreciate all of you. That really does help so much. You have no idea. I apologize for the clickbait titles. I know I use all these ridiculous adjectives, but at a certain point, I'm not a great YouTuber by any means with the tagging, the titling, the SEOs, all that stuff. So when I have one video that's getting people coming in, I just want to reuse the details and keep bringing them in. And hopefully you like hanging out, you like talking games, and you like what we're doing here. So yes, as a reminder, I release a video every Tuesday. It's been so nice getting a hold of you. Take care.